Welcome back. Today I want to share just a little bit of a story from a wonderful yogi. And he called me up. He goes, I want to share something with you. And it's not judgmental. It's just a sense, a feeling, an intuition that keeps coming to me over and over and over again. And so I'm going to say it clearly, but he goes, it's not a judgment, it's just a strange intuition that I keep getting that people are hollow. That everybody that I meet in my life is hollow, and I just can't shake this. What is going on? So let's get into it. So first of all, this is the yogi where I tell a story. He called me up. He goes, I think I want the Muse. I'm like, you don't need the Muse. He goes, yeah, but I think it would help my meditations if I got the Muse. I'm like, yeah, you can get it, but you don't need it. You don't need the Muse. And he goes, why is that? Well, I said, well, you're already subconsciously integrated. And he goes, okay. And he goes, maybe I know what that means, maybe I don't, but I still think I want to get the Muse. I'm like, go ahead, get the Muse, but you don't need the Muse. So he gets the Muse and he puts it on and he calls me up. He says, this is kind of crazy. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, well, I'm wearing the Muse and it says I am meditating all of the time. It says I'm in a meditative state all of the time. What is going on? I'm like, well, you don't need the Muse. You're subconsciously integrated. That's an integrated state with your slower brain waves, and you don't need the Muse. He goes, I don't need the Muse. I'm like, I told you, you don't need the Muse. He's already subconsciously integrated, and that's the beginning of the Muse. It's showing you how to get into the slower brainwaves, slow down your beta brainwave, your conscious mind, integrate slowly with those slower brainwaves, and let that eventually be your new normal, and that's where he already is. The kahuna from Hawaii, the keepers of the secret, they would say, look, you've got to go down to go up, right? Oh, so clear, so beautiful. You have to subconsciously integrate so that you can begin to access the higher self. Only by becoming slowing down, can we enter into the clarity which is necessary to access the pure inspiration of the gamma brainwave directly. We may have little flashes of it here and there in our lives, but to access it in a huge and profound way inside of meditation, we have to slow down. We have to enter into the low idle state, and then we have the clarity which is necessary to access all of that inspiration. So this yogi, right, he's already subconsciously integrated. He's already opening up and accessing and surrendering to the higher self. He's getting downloads. He's having very deep and profound samadhis. And that's a vast universe which is open to him compared to a normal person who is living in the conscious mind only. So you've got the beta brainwave, that's the conscious mind. And then you have the subconscious, which is divided into alpha, theta, and delta, right? So that's all of the subconscious. And then above that, you have gamma, which is this huge swath of brainwaves, which ought to be divided up. It's so huge compared to the subconscious and the conscious mind. It needs to be divided up. We need levels of the gamma to understand it more profoundly. The same way that we've divided up the subconscious, we need to eventually divide up the gamma to begin to understand it. But we haven't done that yet, have we? So now you've just got this huge swath of the subconscious and this huge swath of the superconscious mind that begins to show up in the yogi's life. And this dear yogi, he's walking around in his life going, look, everybody's like right here, and that's it. Why do they feel so hollow? Well, because they're living on the surface of their lives. I was researching angels and I came across this old Hebrew word for the earth, and it was a reference to the earth angel, and that means when the divine inspiration hits somebody else and they just show up in your life and they tell you something. That's an earth angel, right? And this reference to the earth was the thin place. I'm like, oh my God, the thin place. Oh my God, that's so perfect. It is. It's this really thin place that we're living in. And as a yogi, you're diving into this subconscious sea, and you're diving into the superconscious sea eventually. And it's just gigantic. It's so big. And everybody else is right here in the thin place. And so sometimes there are things going on inside of you. I have a yogini, she was calling me and she goes, I'm at work and I'm getting all this bliss and somebody tells a joke and I can't stop laughing. And people are looking at me strange and I don't really care that much, but I have to control it. I'm like, yes, you do have to control the bliss. You want to keep your job. And she's like, yeah, I want to keep my job, but just little jokes, little cute babies I have on my phone, little cute kittens, somebody walks by and they have a little smile and I get this joy. It's just amazing. And that's your work with the left amygdala and the dorsal vagal of bliss. It's just amazing, amazing work. And it just opens up all of this world to you. And nobody quite understands where she's coming from because they're in the thin place. Carl Jung said, if a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely. And that's kind of sad, right? It is sad because sometimes there are huge, gigantic things inside of you and you want to be able to share them and you're not going to be able because the person in front of you is in that thin place. So I don't tell you the quote because it's sad. I'm telling you because it sheds light on the condition that you may find yourself in. That you are living in the thin place and people are not ready for the hugeness which you have found inside of yoga. And so you have to become extremely patient and extremely understanding so that you can wait. And I used to give out a lot of advice, and then I finally realized, nobody really wants your advice. The fool won't heed it, and the wise man doesn't need it, so why are you wasting your time, right? And so I started fishing. And so when I think I might be able to help a little bit, because everybody's in the thin place, but, I'm like Plato. There's light out here. If you come out of the cave, there's light. And so I'll throw out a little bit of my fishing line and I'll see if they catch the hook. And I'll wait. Many times they will not pick up the hook. Okay, there's nothing I can do. Stay in the dark place, stay in the thin place. I can't do anything about that. That is your choice. You have your free will. And then I throw out the line again and I throw out the line again. And when nothing happens, I just wait, I pull back, I wait, patiently, hopefully. And then I throw out the line again, and sometimes they catch the hook, and I reel them in just a little bit closer to the light, a little bit deeper out of the thin place. But you've been following for some time, haven't you? And you've caught the hook of what I'm telling you. And you've ventured into that first sea, and you've tasted that second sea. And now you're out of the thin place. And it's glorious, isn't it? So I hope you love this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.